Naruto throughout the series has held his fair share of rivals, but none more than Sasuke and the notorious leader of the Akatsuki, Pain. So what if these two opposing forces managed to swap fights to see how either Sasuke or Pain would have done in the other's place? For Sasuke will be taking him from his battle with Danzo and Pain from his battle with Jiraiya, as these two versions managed to carry the most accurate depictions of what a fully powered version would really look like. So let's begin with Pain versus Deidara. Upon giving the task of taking down the Akatsuki's leader, Jiraiya realizes his base power definitely isn't enough, and he actually will require his Sage mode from his training at Mount Miyaboku, which is stated to make shinobi of other nations tremble, according to the 1 Decade 100 Ninja Guide, where Jiraiya then attributes Pain's power to be somewhere even above Hanzo's, who could be all 3 Sannin previously, due to Pain obviously killing him. Jiraiya then proclaims that he's going to no longer be of the Prodigal 3, but of the Hermit Sage of Mount Miyaboku, giving us a directly verifiable reason as to why even the weaker paths of Pain are also beyond any single Kage of the time and nearly any shinobi in the world, as Jiraiya and Orochimaru are implied numerous times to possess power on par with one another, which places them also next to Old Man Hiruzen, who Orochimaru had an even battle with through what the anime profile guides calls practically the same level taijutsu. This Hiruzen is stated to be the strongest of the 5 Kage 3 times in the first fan book and by Kabuto. Pain being massively above the 5 Kage and this level would fit with several noteworthy and consistent statements for Pain and how he should be above Deidara and just the lower end Akatsuki members, such as how the 3rd data book remarks, quote, "The shinobi of the Akatsuki joined with his own expectations. These shinobi who have the skill and talent to battle 1,000 men at once, why would they join an organization and obey Pain in capturing tailed beasts? The reason is Pain's charisma and power that no one can deny," which would imply that every Akatsuki member would obey Pain because of either his charisma and his power, but this statement is assigning 2 attributes to Pain, first being charisma and the second being power that no one can deny, which actually singles out power, giving that attribute an additional qualitative value, meaning no member of the Akatsuki could deny his power, fitting again with other statements such as, quote, "The Akatsuki's invincible leader, even the notoriously strong members obey him," which is power correlated, seeing as it asserts something to Pain's power and gives a similar attribute to the members who are considered strong, yet Pain is invincible in comparison. So basically either way, you have to accept that each Akatsuki member who are strong enough to battle both Biju and Jinchuriki alike obey Pain due to his power, as it's so vastly above theirs and they really just couldn't deny it. This also aligns with how Bro's other glazing statements calling him immortal, invincible, unbeatable, and someone so powerful he's revered as a god throughout the entire arc by characters like Konan, who shut down Obito's questionings of Pain's ability to defeat Naruto, despite characters like Itachi acknowledging that Deidara couldn't bring Naruto in. However, through this line of scaling, we have practically direct statements that Pain would have just been demonstrably above Deidara, who albeit is considered strong by Kisame, but I mean in the end, even the notoriously strong members obey him. Deidara's highest in scaling would scale to a curse mark 2 heavy Sasuke if you're rather generous to Deidara, and argue that he is relative to CM2 Sasuke in instances such as when he's pinned to the descending bird, where in that time frame it takes Sasuke to extend snakes out of his arm. He finds a foothold, kicks one shuriken out, removes the other, flies off the bird, tosses his cloak, and summons another bird, all whilst more fatigued than the CM2 Sasuke. Even when Deidara uses his ace move in the C4, which is stated to tip the scales of battle, Sasuke does manage to break out flying in the wrong direction, where he would then fly at a full speed using both his Sharingan and Chidori and wings to all amp his speed, and yet Deidara does still turn his body and weave signs, demonstrating how he is potentially relative to this CM2 Sasuke on a low end. And the earlier instances in battle that would argue against this would primarily rely on a misconflation of Sasuke's body flicker and combat speed, but anyway, even with this, Sasuke in just his 3 Tomoe at the beginning of the summit is stated to be even colder than his peak CM2 Sharingan self, which is power correlated, as both Tobirame and Maguire from the Sakura novel push the notion that emotion and, more importantly, hatred increase the quality of this chakra in the eye, which is a direct power boost as implied by Fukasaku. This stronger Sasuke using his Sharingan precog is only relative to a version 1 Raikage who isn't even taking the fight serious yet, and obviously Pain's narrative of being above the 5 Kage does paint this in a bad light. The paths are obviously all dead corpses, so them being blown up or hurt doesn't really hinder Pain's ability to fight, and fighters like the Ashura path should be able to snipe Deidara out of the air if the Diva path doesn't decide to just fly in Shinra Tensei or Bansho tinning Deidara off his bird, causing him to fall. Pain also has many summons like the crab, which can use jutsu like the Raging Froth jutsu to hit and pressure Deidara, so yeah, Pain wins 9 out of 10 times. Yo, real quick, I also have to say that if you guys are enjoying, then by all means, please subscribe, help your boy out, get him out of the trenches, by all means. Anyway, let's go to something more interesting. Moving on to Sasuke's first match, we have Jiraiya, who does have access to his Sage mode, and while I've always said I think base Jiraiya and heavy Sasuke is a good fight, this fight is much less nuanced, as by this point, we've already alluded to how Sasuke has grown through his chakra getting colder throughout the summit, which is noted by Karin each time Sasuke Susanoo evolves in power, where his chakra also gets colder, allowing for his ninjutsu, taijutsu, and genjutsu to all become more powerful by the Danzo battle. Sasuke is then stated to be nearly unrecognizable by Karin due to his body adapting physically to the chakra potency changes, which is following 3 other primary amps plus chakra recharges by Zetsu. So in concluding that, Sasuke then in the Danzo fight is just far stronger than he was whenever he was able to rival the Raikage with his MS, combat Gaara in his sand, or dodge Mei's lava style in just his 3 Tomoe Sharingan. Therefore, Sasuke also by this point is notably sitting calmly above that Sannin tier of power. Sasuke, however, should extend even beyond that, as the narrative for this Sasuke and Naruto is that upon getting Sage Mode and the MS respectively, the two have ever increasing powers, as noted by the back of volume 45, and although Naruto was stated to be probably stronger than Sasuke, who fought B, this is simply because Sasuke's power evolves as he acclimates to it, whereas Naruto's power instantly fleshes itself out and he has to adapt to that power over time, where by the end of the summit, Naruto, sensing Sasuke's power, clashes with him, where the two shinobi are comparable to how they were in the final valley in terms of relativity, as when 2 high-level shinobi are so close, they enter into each other's minds, where Naruto realizes that if they fought, they would both die, something implied to also be thought by Sasuke in the 4th data book. Naruto concedes he needs the Nine Tails to beat Sasuke, and Sasuke concedes he needs the EMS to beat Naruto. So Summit Sasuke is virtually equals to the same Sage Naruto, who is stated on the same back cover to even be more powerful than his fallen sensei Jiraiya, as the 2nd fanbook highlights how he inherited most of his techniques, including Sage Mode, which Paul states he surpassed Jiraiya in, as the 4th data book implies this moment is in reference to Senjutsu Mastery. Pain also is stated to have never been pushed as far as Naruto did, lending credence to how, even though yes, Pain did admit that if Jiraiya knew the secret, he would have won. This is likely discussing how they could have been beaten through either Jiraiya finding the real body and killing the, pseudo non-combative Nagato, or catching the other 3 paths with the frog song. So yeah, Sasuke here is just much stronger than Jiraiya. And while I might say that sure, Jiraiya does have some really good terrain advantages, as in Sage Mode he can reappear out of your shadow if he holds his breath, which he could then use to blast out flame bombs, which are stated to completely combust the opponent if caught unaware. He can then amplify these by 10 times the size, which he uses through, the hallways and whatnot. So, Jiraiya is busted because he could also phase through walls, by the way, to shoot these out, but anyway, Sasuke has numerous techniques like the Enkon Kagetsuchi, which are just simply faster than himself, as well as even against the Raikage, Sasuke is able to perceive and react to the much faster opponent and defend adequately by fully engulfing the sort of ribcage while the Raikage is statued. I mean, even if Jiraiya is going to be a tank like he usually is in character, such as when he wants to keep on fighting Hanzo, or how he gets beat up and, and beats the Four Tails with a gaping chest wound, Sasuke could probably still tank his attacks, at least to the point where he should be able to capitalize with the Susanoo to allow for him to not have to take that many. He gets slammed in the neck while probably not expecting it to, by the full power version 2 Raikage, and he just has a mean bruise, which does heal by the end of the summit. So this style of fighting is also the Raikage's top move, as even moves like his lariat are one-armed moves like this, which fits with how Kishimoto in designing his character notes that he's meant to represent a wrestling champion, hence the gold belt around his waist. So yeah, all in all, I'd say that Sasuke, he should probably really come through with the wind through things like his Susanoo and techniques like that, and like the Susanoo arrow, which is basically just devastating as it's much faster than Danzo, who is relative to Sasuke in combat speed, at least on a lower end. So yeah, Sasuke should win like 8 out of 10 times. Now, while we've already established that Pain should be above characters like the Raikage and other Kage of the time, how would he fare against Killer Bee? And to answer it simply, very well, Bee's introduction opens with him training, as that's like his whole gig, right? Training, and getting stronger to keep up with the Raikage, who also trains. So it's hard to ground this Bee to any other version of himself, even against Kisame, which if you were to grant doesn't help much, as you would then just be able to use like Pain in the chapter 364 synopsis statement is noted to be the strongest man in the Akatsuki, placing him directly above Kisame either way. So Pain is just stronger than the Kusame, who was relative to a stronger Bee than the one of discussion today. He's also stated to have power even exceeding Naruto's in Sage Mode, which is stated by Zetsu to be more than Sasuke, who kept up with Bee during that fight. Pain also fights and beats the strongest Jinchuriki. I mean, what more do I really need to say? Pain should certainly beat Killer Bee like 8 out of 10 times. Next up, we have the battle that some fans may not remember, as they may not have saw it, as it's directly only really displayed in the anime, being Pain versus the Six-Tails Jinchuriki Utakata. However, in the manga, Pain has to have captured a Biju, and the only one which fits with this would be the Six-Tails through what we know to be an unknown time frame. So it is consistent to say that they at least fought, although we will take the anime depiction as things remain quite interesting through how like Utakata can fully utilize his V2 form using all 6 of the tails quite effectively, to where he can try to, use each tail to swipe at the enemy, although the poison effect like we see against Sakura seems to be a Karama only ability due to his hatred festering over time and changing the quality of his chakra. So these swipes won't be poisonous for Sasuke, which is pretty good, as Sasuke could use abilities like his Susanoo fingers or Kusanagi blade to then pierce through the tails, just like how the human path does in the anime, without using a black belted blade just like a regular sword. Sasuke using the Susanoo would be the better bet, as Utakata can also still use steam ninjutsu as shown, which force the Preta path to intercept it and absorb it. Other ones like his exploding bubble jutsu from the War Arc would probably also be on the table, so Sasuke's defense in the Susanoo should be key here. If Sasuke pulls a strategy like he did to Danzo, where he just grabs him with his hand and tries to squeeze him, then Utakata can use this ability to turn blue, allowing for him to slip through anything, like massively increasing his speed, which he used to slip the chameleon's tongue, where he went on to go all the way down to the ground and slice straight through both the Preta and human paths before they could even react, leaving the animal and Naraka path to come save them and evacuate them from that battlefront, where we then see that the Diva engages, and from there it was pretty much a clear win for Pain, as he then just provokes Utakata to charge, to where he then just Shinra Tenseis him through an entire forest. Now, to Utakata's respect, he did manage to rip the trees out of the ground and throw them at Pain, but he could still, react to them again with the Shinra Tensei pretty handily, allowing for him to then jump back, dodging Utakata's blitz attempt, where he then just threw 6 black belted blades, piercing each tail, prompting the Ashura path to then bombard him while he's on the ground with missiles. So yeah, these should definitely give Sasuke some trouble, and Utakata actually, through these showings, is pretty impressive, but probably albeit isn't quite enough to take down Sasuke, who again is a fighter basically equal to Sage Naruto, who pushed Pain far harder than Utakata did, who took down less paths than either Jiraiya or Naruto. So while he is strong and his blue V2 state is cool, Sasuke should still be able to use things like the Enton and the Amaterasu to then just kill Utakata on the spot, as this is also what Itachi uses to one-shot Yagura's V2 state in the anime. So yeah, Sasuke, using his Susanoo should have the advantage, and for the Enton, he can also fire out these projectiles here, as you can see, which is usually an ability he uses in his EMS one, which is essentially an Enton ball that fires out bursts of more Enton, and the EMS one can fire out, I believe, 5, and the one from the summit he uses on Gar can fire out like 3, so he can also probably play a ranged game against Utakata, which is pretty stably how Pain beat him. So yeah, Sasuke is a pretty good stylistic matchup and whatnot, because even then, as we mentioned, Itachi one-shot Yagura's V2 state, so Sasuke doing the same here isn't outrageous, but Sasuke should win maybe 9 out of 10 times. And also, bro, you're still not subscribed? Yeah, you. whatever. Anyway, moving past that, we have another pretty interesting match being Pain versus Danzo, the replacement for the 6th Hokage, who already is noted to be somewhat relative to Sasuke, which is true, and many people will either take a stance saying he's not relative at all, or he's definitely relative, like extremely, maybe even equals, when I think the most likely interpretation is to say that Sasuke is vastly above Danzo through a general combative perspective, as he can kill Danzo several times before Danzo's first attack really lands, which he tanks. Now, excluding most of Sasuke's higher end arsenal like his Susanoo and MS techniques, the two can be relative to where, like, I would at least concede that Danzo isn't going to be blitzed off start by Pain. However, that's probably being rather nice to Danzo and about the best you can get, seeing as both Pain and Itachi kind of remain as the two higher end benchmarks for both Naruto and Sasuke to overcome. Sasuke is forced to face his own tragedy by battling a man whose eyes represent such tragedy. Naruto is forced to face the cycle of hatred and like no one else, and gets Pain, who possesses the literal Samsara eye. Both Sasuke and Naruto have Sannin mentors who possess forms beyond the Sannin, and both Itachi and Pain beat up the mentors and their higher forms, forcing both Naruto and Sasuke to get the same equal, ever-increasing powers, where even in these powers, Pain is stated to have power even beyond Naruto's in Sage Mode, and Itachi is consistently compared to Sasuke throughout the summit, with how Sasuke's Genjutsu is so much weaker than Itachi's. It's a night and day difference, where there's even more comparisons such as the Amaterasu comparisons and whatnot. Then in EMS, Sasuke is stated to be equals to Itachi. So it's almost as if Itachi and Pain, regardless of who you think is stronger, who wins in a fight, are just kind of above these forms of Naruto and Sasuke, and Pain would obviously be just outright above the same Sasuke, who was again beating around Danzo through his abilities, which Pain would also be able to do through his arguably superior arsenal, which includes once again techniques like the Ashura Path missiles and maneuverable metal blades to then stab Danzo, which would be aided through abilities like his Animal Path summons, which includes the aforementioned crab, replicating dog, panda, rhino, ox, bird, chameleon, you name it, and even like the more unknown creatures like this monster that's called the Destroyer. And while it never actually appeared within the the manga itself, Kishimoto did make a note to draw it at the end of the chapters within the war arc alongside other numerous like designs as a way to demonstrate certain characters he never got to ever explore or flesh out. Pain's summon is one of these, and it actually states that it's called the Destroyer because it has power comparable to a tailed beast. So all this to say that Pain's sheer background pressure through both the Ashura and Animal Path are perfect for killing Danzo's multiple times, while both the Human and Diva Path jump Danzo using attacks like the Shenron Tensei and Bancho Tenni to then pull him into like a choke slam like he did in Naruto. He could also just like utilize the black belted blades, which are basically the ultimate weapon and are only ever really snapped by Sage Mode level fighters in the manga. So Danzo's futon blades, which can pierce Sasuke, probably won't really be able to combat these rods, and Danzo's basically dead meat to those. And another side point would be like, could Danzo even use Izanagi if the Human Path removed his soul? And while I would generally say yes, it could go to show the arguments of how much of like a stylistic advantage Pain has on top of that. So he should definitely win this one in my opinion, like 9 out of 10 times. Because his stamina also is way better than Danzo's, and he should be able to actually outlast him and kill him, as obviously he bombed the entire Leaf Village and took out many of its top Jonin, including Kakashi and whatnot. So yeah, moving on to Sasuke versus Naruto. This one should be another quick one, as I basically already lined out how the two are basically evenly matched, and while this could be up for debate, it's essentially an arsenal battle from this point forward, which I would personally lean towards Sasuke due to the Enton and Susanoo arrow being much faster to his base, allowing for Sasuke to run out the Sage Mode timer much easier than Naruto could fully drain Sasuke down to base. And I do have a video on this if you want more information, but yeah, what did you guys think? Did you guys think that Utakata may have won, or maybe Deidara should have beat Pain through a C0? Either way, no matter what you guys think, be sure to let me know in the comment section below, as I do love reading your guys' comments, and I usually respond to all of them. So yeah, please, subscribe or check out more of my content, or share this to your grandma, dog, best friend, everything like that. And if this is your first time hearing me, then do all those things together. And more importantly, may God bless you all. Love you guys.